Now, before you begin this episode, I want to address that this episode is an audio-only podcast. The reason why is due to the legal reasons that were addressed in the last episode, WIWpodcast Tough Enough. Click here if you haven't watched it. I highly recommend. Now, before you begin this episode, let's go to our Fiverr sponsor advertisement of the episode. Do you need an awesome YouTube banner, a Google Plus cover, or a Twitter header? Well, look no further into Zaldies, an awesome graphic designer who specializes in custom banners. I mean, he made the WIW banner and has been an instant hit. And he's only available on Fiverr.com for only $5 at Fiverr.com/Zaldies. Fiverr.com/Zaldies. I highly recommend if you need one. Now, we take you to the Wrestling is Wrestling podcast.
Is this recording?
Hi.
Like you should do that, and that's how you start it. And then that's when you put like a dark
crap.
screen,
Yeah.
and then you put the wrestling. Like that's how it starts. And then Wrestling is Wrestling podcast.
Yep.
And then you start with all your mess.
I don't know if you want to start it that way.
I'm going to
Just
start like that.
recording.
You can start it.
Hi.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
I pressed the record button and it recorded why you said what the fuck.
The fuck?
Alright.
PG, right?
Yeah. Well, he's been swearing, so just don't go overboard.
It'll be like
Because this is not the,
It'll be like fuck. It'll be like that.
yeah, don't, this is the Wrestling is Wrestling podcast, not the swearing podcast, okay? You're not helping me here. Is this thing recording?
Yes. It is.
Okay, cool. Is it blue lines going in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that when it's recording?
Yeah.
Okay.
What is blue lines? Yeah. All right. Cool. Hey everybody, wrestling world and the internet world. That came out so wrong. That just sounds wrong. Whatever. Welcome to the Wrestling is Wrestling podcast. My name is Stephen Rafferty. For those of you who don't know, I am the man with a plan. I am funky like a monkey, and I am not Macho Man Randy Savage. I'm Stephen Rafferty, and I'm with my co-hosts, Siley,
Hi.
Mike,
How you doing?
and joining us, Nadim.
Hello.
And today, we're talking about TNA, because for the second time, TNA has been canceled by a major network. Again. And the fun fact, Ring of Honor is taking the time slot an hour before TNA, and they announced that Ring of Honor is going to be on Destination America the same day that TNA is like announcing that they're actually going to be canceled.
Weren't they doing it like an hour before at like 8 o'clock plus the 9?
They're going to do it,
Ring of
8
Honor?
p.m. And then TNA until September it will be 9 p.m. And if the ratings keep going down, they'll be canceled in September. If not, Destination America has the chance to renew their contract. But you know, TNA is TNA. There's a lot of bad in TNA. Let's be honest. But we're not gonna focus on the bad of TNA. Not this episode.
We're not.
Oh, we're not? Maybe.
Oh, okay.
We're not. That's
Delete.
great. We lost all our viewers now.
You can't talk about TNA and be like, oh, we can't talk about that. No, we have to.
Not today. I wrote down 5 legitimately, that sounded wrong, 5 legit good things that TNA has done as a company.
How long did it take you to make that list?
Like 3.5 days. Because I got my first 2 points down, no problem. But then the last 3 points, I was like, what else did they do right? And then I found a lot of wrong.
Nothing. 0.
Well, I found 5. So I'm gonna read out this list, and then you guys and gals are gonna tell me your opinions on said thing. So first thing, in no particular order, just 5 things. First thing, the X Division. Back when TNA was in like 2002, one of the main focuses was on the X Division as like this new reformed cruiserweight division from WCW in the 90s, and they wanted to be no limits, high flying, awesome, back and forth fast action. And we had a lot of X Division stars such as AJ Styles and Chris Sabin and Christopher Daniels, a lot of indie guys coming to TNA. And I think they really put a set in stone on the map for TNA themselves, you know? And not to mention, they had some pretty innovative matches. They had the Ultimate X match, which is, to this day, one of my favorite types of matches to watch. You know?
I know, yeah.
It's a really...
I remember Ultimate X.
As a wrestler, and as somebody that's been in a wrestling ring, that's a horrible match to be a part of because you have to climb cables, and that's like upper body strength. But as a fan, I think it's a very creative idea.
Well, I think it was smart because they were doing that
It
at
was
a time.
different.
Yeah, it was different because, well, and at the same time, WWE didn't really have any high flyers and didn't really have that stuff. So when they started the X division, it was something new that wasn't
It's
being
like
seen.
it's like WWE was phasing out the cruiserweights,
Yeah,
and TNA was like, "Hey,
they were taking over with
there, you guys do all the amazing stuff. Here,
Mhm.
go in the ring and do it."
And it also helps attract newer fans because athleticism sells pretty well, especially with kids. Like they love to see a Manic or someone like a Suicide at the time he was known as try to do death-defying stunts, quote unquote, and it sold pretty well because you can see people hitting these moves and help jumpstart their careers into becoming major parts of the X division.
Sure, definitely, you know. And there were some really good matches. But one match that stands out for me was a TNA show, and it was AJ Styles versus Christopher Daniels versus Samoa Joe, now in NXT called Joey Samoa, but you know, and Samoa Joe. It was a triple threat match.
Oh my God, you just said that, didn't you?
What, Joey Samoa?
Oh no.
Oh, come on, Nate, no, Vince.
Oh no.
Just awkward pauses and laughter. Samoa Joe, triple threat match for the X Division title, and to tell you how important that match was, it was actually the main event of that pay-per-view. It wasn't the heavyweight title; it was the X Division title. So you know there was a massive appeal for that, and that was a legitimate good thing that TNA actually did. Now it's a whole other story. Things have changed, people have gone, but that's for another day. And when I mean another day, probably like in the next 20 minutes after I run out of these ideas.
Right.
Right. So that's my first point of the X Division. Any want to comment? Anything? I don't know.
Anything that I liked?
Yeah.
Okay, well, something I really liked, when they would say, okay, so former WWE wrestlers, when they entered TNA, some of them actually excelled. And when I say this, I talk about Bubba Ray when he turned to Bully Ray.
Mm-hmm.
He became a main event guy.
Even Jeff Hardy kind of grew into the main event area in TNA.
And that's something that I never, because in WWE they weren't the main event guys. You know, Bubba Ray, he was part of a tag team. Jeff Hardy was part of a tag team, so you never saw them individually, like what they could do, talking on the mic. And Bubba Ray, as Bully Ray, he was a really good talker. And he was a good wrestler. So putting him on the main event, I think actually made sense. Even though I would have never expected it, it actually worked for him.
Same with Orlando Jordan having a lot of success because at most in the WWF or WWE at the time was he was just a mid-card guy and being able to get more exposure definitely helps over time.
I hate to say it, wasn't Orlando Jordan the one that was
He had the bisexual
Yeah.
guy, didn't he? In TNA?
which he's bisexual in real life, I believe.
Yeah, in real life.
But they tried to put it with the character back then, and nobody liked that because it was very taboo. And even to this day, yeah, it's more accepted, but it's still kind of taboo.
Don't give TNA ideas right now. They'll probably take that again and be like, you know that Orlando Jordan guy? I think we can do it in this nation in America. Oh God. So X Division, the relaunch of the older stars from other promotions coming to TNA.
And
They do it.
Jeff Jarrett was, the king of the mountain there, although he had more influence there than most other wrestlers.
Hit guitars.
Sting had his career lengthened
Yeah.
pretty well in TNA.
Not just that, but bringing Sting in helped TNA.
Kurt Angle went over as well.
You got more good points than I had.
And that
this
helps.
list.
Booker T as well.
Oh, that's right. Booker T was on
It
this.
was when they made the main event Mafia,
Yeah.
and they teamed all of them up. They put Kurt Angle, Booker T, Sting all together in the same group. That's when it turned, when it made them kind of like this powerhouse team. I mean, I think they were trying to do kind of like
An evolution.
an evolution type of thing, yeah. But in this case, all of them were kind of in the same, I guess.
Era?
Yeah, they in the same era, but also they were in the same like physically they were in the same place, so they were also able to wrestle and do what they had to do. But I think that worked out so well because it was wrestlers that never really had a strong push in WWE. They finally came together and had this like, really
Another guy
dynamic
that
team.
got the big push was Ken Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Kennedy.
Mm-hmm.
Then WWE, you know, he had issues and injury. I don't know what happened. He goes to TNA and he got pushed
Mm-hmm.
mightily well. So
And well deserved too.
yeah,
Sure. And speaking of wrestlers getting pushed, I would like to say point number 2, the Knockouts division.
Absolutely.
I think
that is what a Divas division should be.
Yes.
And if it's anything like we're seeing on NXT, then NXT's Diva division is like, damn, that's
It's
wrestling.
solid.
That's how I want to see women wrestle, not like, you know, just running up and down the ring and fake falling and whatever. It's like, come on, this is a joke. Bathroom break.
yeah.
Like people relate to it.
Even Marie.
Okay.
It's
Like when the- I have to
She's
say-
getting better.
I just say
yes,
when the
she's
Divas,
getting better, but when she started, I don't know.
when the Divas come on, it's like, okay, bathroom break. Let me go check see if the food is hot.
It
You
depends.
know,
Well, it depends. I think it's getting better.
it is.
I think it's getting better now with like Tamina and Naomi and that dynamic and the.
I don't know. I feel like Vince just doesn't want the women to become the focal point of the show.
Which annoys me because they have some really good wrestlers. Like even when AJ was there, AJ was a solid wrestler and she could also talk on the mic. So I don't know why you wouldn't push that.
That's why, like, I see NXT. I'm like, I wish the Divas division was like this
Yeah.
from NXT because if it was, it would sell like crazy.
But getting back to how TNA works with their their Knockouts division, they extended careers of Mickie James and Gail Kim.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Also, Victoria.
And Victoria was quote unquote retired at the time, but then she got a contract offer and she took it, and she revitalized her career as this creepy knockout, and she won multiple titles. So it's nice to see someone.
Also, I like that they would have a hardcore knockout matches as well.
Yeah, they have.
Because it's not just the guys that can be hardcore.
Mhm.
Women can be hardcore too.
Yeah.
They can make each other bleed.
That's right. TNA actually had a couple women's wrestlers bleed. Like, and that's, you don't see that anywhere. You know. That's
Like hitting each other with chairs and cutting people open. You never see that in WWE because, you know, they don't want to do it. It doesn't look
well,
right.
there's no blood policy. That's just in general. You know.
Even earlier in WWF, it would be very rare to see a woman get cut
But
open.
let's
from
be
a chair
honest
shot.
about it though. Like if you pin the knockouts versus the divas,
Knockout.
like that's not of course, but that's not even a fair competition because these knockouts. I'm talking about like let's say this was real life street fights. Like these knockouts would kill the divas.
Most of them, probably, with the
Seriously.
exception probably a couple. Most of them would.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to go with Nadeem here. They revitalized careers with women's wrestlers in TNA, and they also brought newer stars. They brought Awesome Kong. They brought the Beautiful People, and
ODB.
ODB,
Mm-hmm.
Roxy, Taylor Wilde. That's all I can think of. Right. Well, in that era, there's more the newer stuff. Now they bring in Mia Yim and Santana Garrett and the new TNA. You know, which is something there too. Actually, no, not Santana Garrett. She already left the company.
But they also help
Sorry, Dave.
transition stars that were kind of leftovers from the WWE as well into other roles besides being knockouts.
Yeah,
Like Christy Hemme.
Which
That's
goes,
true,
which
that's
goes
right.
back to what Siley said, which is they help lengthen their careers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people that are getting revitalized pushes and becoming second stars or main stars in TNA, where WWE might have been like, yeah, just leave. We need younger talent.
Exactly.
Speaking of careers, and I'm loving these segues. It's great. We're going over my list. Third reason, I think it's a really important reason. You know Christian from the WWE, Agent Christian. He went to TNA for a couple of years, and those are some of the best. That's one of his best runs he's ever had in wrestling. TNA, whether you like it or not, it helped relaunch Christian's career.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Christian the only guy that's won the TNA title and then come back and won a championship in WWE?
I don't know.
I don't want to say anything because I'm probably gonna be
Yeah,
wrong,
I'm
but
probably
it might
wrong. I'm probably wrong with that one.
The only one I remember.
But I think he might be the only person that, unless Samoa Joe wins the championship,
True.
he might be the only guy that's ever won the TNA title and WWE title.
Which is well deserved, because Christian, I feel like, again, that was another person who didn't get enough credit like he should have. Christian is he's a good wrestler, but he's also a good talker. And I think a lot of that was kind of pushed aside when he was with Edge. Like, they made an amazing tag team, but individually, the two of them are really good.
And nothing against Edge, because Edge is like amazing.
Yeah.
But Christian should have gotten a chance too.
Of course.
What do you think on Christian, Dean? What do you think?
Well, personally, I enjoyed watching him towards the latter end of his career, because like I didn't really get into his career as much when he was with Edge and Christian. I like the back and forth with Tommy Dreamer and ECW. That may have not been as popular at the time.
And that's not because of them. That's because ECW as a whole at that time was.
But I mean, I do appreciate what ECW did bring to the table, because it was a little bit of a breath of fresh air compared to the whole Raw versus SmackDown stranglehold.
Sure.
For this power of the company. You know, just having ECW champions, like people that didn't really have much spotlight, like Mark Henry, seeing a Mark Henry win the ECW title, seeing an RVD winning the title. ECW, when it was relaunched, did create some sort of buzz, and that's what I enjoyed about Christian mainly.
Yeah, definitely. And I think when he came back, I think he was not a better overall wrestler, because he was good to begin with, but I think he was more relaxed, and I think it helped him get a new lease on life with TNA. Because when he got fired in 2005, or when he left, whatever the case may be, he was literally doing nothing. He was with Chris Jericho, and he was basically there. Eric Bischoff as the GMs. They were like their lackeys, like J&J Security now, kind of, which is a horrible comparison. Taking two amazing wrestlers with J&J Security, which.
Well, listen, Jamie Noble and Joey Murphy, they're good wrestlers.
Oh, they're great. I'm not denying that. It's just comparing them, you know. This is security, you know.
Yeah, they had their moments. Eminem had some sort of dominance with Nitro and Mercury together with Molina, but then you also had Jamie Noble. He was a major factor during the cruiserweight division, excluding the Hornswoggle gimmick with the whole cruiserweight championship and him going after him, but that's besides the point.
Sure. I mean, my thing is that why didn't Eminem sponsor Eminem? And why didn't Eminem the rapper sponsor M&M's that sponsored Eminem the tag team?
Alright, we're getting too deep into this.
Nothing gets too deep with the Wrestling Podcast. M&M's.
Oh no.
I'm sorry, I had to say that. But
another thing with TNA.
Sure.
Their factions were pretty good. I mean, some of them were copies, like Aces and Eights.
Nothing can beat Aces and Eights.
Yeah, I mean, see, Aces and Eights started
and their
out
tag
well,
teams were great too.
Yeah, the tag teams were good. But when Aces and Eights started accumulating the entire roster, like NWO at one point did, I was kind of like,
NWO copy.
Yeah, I was like, I've seen this before.
But early on, they had the Team Canada.
Team Canada.
Yeah.
Team what did I say earlier? Team Canada.
Canada. Oh, Team Canada.
Yeah, they created some really good factions.
Yeah.
The Main Event Mafia was another one. Aces and Eights. They were able to make good factions in the company. I really liked the Team Canada one.
The British Invasion.
The British Invasion.
What about World Elite too? Eric Young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, a lot of racial well, not racial, but like a lot of nationality factions.
A lot of national
factions. And during those times, all those groups would be all a part of the six-sided ring. That's another. I put it down as a point.
Yeah, that's another one. That I'll tell you. That is when I was channel flipping, and when I first found TNA, as a wrestling fan, I looked at it, I go, cool wrestling. I'll watch. But it was the six-sided ring that got me to think, whoa, this could be innovative, and that's why I liked it, because I would watch TNA. Because it was on a different time slot. It was when wrestling wasn't on in the middle of the week, or sometimes on the weekends, depending on what years you watched it. But it was a six-sided ring that sold me on TNA. Because it was different. It was unique.
My question is, okay, clearly it's like a different style ring. So is the mat more, is it harder to fall on? Or, I want to know how.
I don't know if the mat is harder, because a ring is a ring.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
I just want to know like the different dynamic with it though.
well,
Like I mean, clearly it affected the wrestlers in some way because now they're dealing with 6 sides. But like, was it better? Was it worse?
well, I can tell. Well, okay, I've never been in a 6-sided ring. I've only been in a 4-sided ring. 4-sided ring hurts a lot. 6-sided ring hurts 10 times more from all the wrestlers I've talked to because the ring is not necessarily harder, but they stretch out the mat to meet the six posts or 6 part of the ring, and that's what makes it harder.
The
And
mat
it's
or the ropes.
No, the mat. The ropes are tighter too, so when you're running the ropes, it's gonna hurt more as well. But the mat's the biggest thing because it's when you bump, when you take a wrestling fall, for those that don't know wrestling terms, it's harder to fall down. It's less of a break because when you fall in the ring, you get a little bit of a spring. 6-sided ring, you don't get that spring, so it's like a boxing mat.
So it's tougher.
It's a lot harder.
Ooh.
So people were getting legitimately hurt, and I mentioned like the first ever episode we did talk about TNA. We did talk about the ring, and I said I have all due respect for any wrestler that steps into a wrestling ring, but I have a lot more respect for somebody that's coming in a 6-sided ring and wrestling on that because that's oh my god.
I guess we know why they changed it back to a 4-sided ring.
Well, that's not the reason. Well, that's part of the reason. The reason was the guy on the T-shirt I'm wearing, Mr. Hulk Hogan, said the 6-sided ring was stupid, wanted to be a 4-sided ring.
No, I'm sorry. That was a stupid thing. The 6-sided ring is what made it unique.
That's what made it TNA.
Yeah, it was different.
Exactly, and then you could have had more matches. Like instead of having like a 6 pair tag team match, all being like in a tornado style. Like you could have people at each individual ring post.
Plus, I think you might be able to come up with some unique moves with the 6 sides of the ropes. You might be able to, I don't know. Like it's harder to jump from rope to rope in a 4-sided ring, but it might be a little bit easier on a 6-sided ring.
My thing, what I liked about the 6-sided ring was when they had the steel cage matches and it'd be 6 sides of steel. Like that's actually kind of cool.
You see that and you're like, damn. Like it reminds you of an octagon from UFC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the cage is 10, 12 feet high.
Mm-hmm.
It looks cool.
It really does, definitely. My last major kind of point was we kind of talked about it already, but for a period they elevated newer talent, and during the time with WWE they're kind of like transitioning from the Attitude Era into like the other kind of eras. But TNA they had a lot of indie guys, they had a lot of Ring of Honor guys, they had a lot of guys from Mexico, from Japan. So you got a nice variety of different styles of wrestling, and you don't really get to see that as an American wrestling fan. As an American wrestling fan, you either WWE, and that's pretty much it at that time, because there wasn't like internet, there wasn't like YouTube, 2002, 2003, and TNA brought that, and I think that was a real positive there. It really was a really good positive. You had Styles, Joe, Daniel, Homicide, you had the AAA guys, you had the Japanese wrestlers, you had Jushin Liger come in from the States, which is a Japanese wrestler I know you don't know too much about because you just get into New Japan Wrestling, but Jushin Liger is like a legend. So I think that was really, really something there. I think that's a real positive you can give to TNA and giving the chance for the opportunity.
Yeah, they developed new stars, but a lot of these stars would end up, well, not a lot of them, but some of them would end up leaving and going to like WWE or other promotions.
Sure, but you have to give credit to TNA for giving them the opportunity.
It's like the WWE and WCW. Back then, stars from WCW, it's like, yeah, they liked wrestling and they loved it to do it, and they didn't mind doing it for WCW. But some of them, their ultimate goal was no, but I want to work for WWE, and that's kind of the same thing that happened here, where some of the wrestlers, they go to TNA, make a name for themselves, but then their ultimate goal is go to WWE. Because that's the big stage. That's like the major leagues.
Okay, but what about people that were in WWE and really didn't make it, so they went to TNA and then became big names?
Yeah.
Like
Christian, for example.
Well, Christian.
Well,
but
yeah.
but I'm talking about like the ones that became like
Or
TNA originals.
Like AJ Styles.
Like AJ Styles or Matt Morgan, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was in WWE.
He was in
that's
WWE
right.
and
He had the stuttering gimmick.
Like in WWE, they weren't big deals, but when they went to TNA, they became like TNA originals. Matt Morgan, AJ Styles, Eric Young,
Christopher Daniels,
Bobby Roode. Like these are people. Well, I don't think
Rockstar Spud.
Young were in WWE, but
No, all right.
Christopher Daniels wasn't in WWE, but TNA is what made him his name.
exactly. So they built a strong original TNA. Like when you think of TNA, you think of AJ Styles. You think
Yeah,
of
oh yeah.
Matt Morgan. You think of Bobby Roode. You think of Eric Young. Like these are the names that come up, and they would have never made that name had they solely been on WWE. I'm glad you guys agree.
I was just like thinking about it. It's like it's a very serious
I
conversation.
don't disagree, but it's sometimes they would be like Christian. He ended up coming back to WWE and he won the title later on, but he wouldn't have gotten that push to WWE. But it was TNA that launched him, and then he goes, "Well, let me go back to WWE because
Well, but it's the
there's
same-
more fans,
yeah.
more."
That's the same thing with.
And in some cases, even the pay is better.
Yeah, well, of course. But you can say that with like Samoa Joe now that he's in WWE. Like I'm sure when he was in TNA, he's like, I'd never leave TNA. This is my home. Blah blah blah. But I feel like as a wrestler, the ultimate is like WWE.
Because
Like,
that's the big stage.
Exactly.
That's like the NFL.
Yeah, it is.
It is the big boy.
Like you can be a big name in TNA, but if you make it in WWE, I mean,
And there's no
that's
and there's no guarantee you'll make it. But
exactly.
And TNA is like the CFL.
I wouldn't go that far because
yeah,
it can't be like the exact CFL. It's more kind of like minor league baseball, or maybe having like college, like
although I will say
Okay.
the
NCAA.
the CFL comparison is pretty good because there's some people that have come out of the CFL and make it into an NFL team and they're stars.
Sure.
And they only got that recognition because they were able to play football somewhere else.
Yeah.
Same thing. You have wrestlers that were able to wrestle in TNA, make a name for themselves, and go, okay, I'm going to try for WWE, the big boys. And they make it. It works out fine.
Well, that's like basketball. Like European basketball players. They what is it? They play in Europe, or even American basketball players who go to Europe. They play in Europe, make a name for themselves over there, and then come in to the end of
Turn their
NWA.
career.
NWA. What am I talking about?
NBA.
The
NBA,
National Wrestling
NWA.
Alliance.
NWA. What am I talking about?
Maybe we can bring LeBron to the WWE or TNA.
Yes, basketball players from Europe come into the wrestling. Oh my gosh! Clearly, my brain is here right now.
Well, we've been talking
Botch
wrestling.
count.
Yay! The botch count's back, and I haven't done anything wrong yet. I'm doing great.
But what about the announcers? We haven't really covered those guys, like Don West, Mike Young, Tanae. You gotta keep those guys in mind. They're
You know what TNA should have done? You know what they should have done? When Paul Heyman wasn't in WWE, they should have brought him to TNA and made him one of the announcers.
He would have, not an announcer, you could have been like a manager for TNA or something.
I mean, until they brought
He could have been like the Eric Bischoff of WCW.
Stupid Eric Bischoff, though. Oh.
He
It's like
could've-
everything he touches turns into ash.
He could have been the Eric Bischoff of the early WCW, where he could be like the bad guy or whatever.
Or they even had an opportunity to hire JR.
They should have.
did.
JR
Stone
was-
Cold.
They should have
Stone
hired Paul
Cold.
Heyman and JR together. Can you imagine that announce team? Wow, that would have been a good one. Dang it,
Would've
TNA.
All right, I think we got to the 5 decent points. Let's talk about the bad. It seems like we're in the mood for it.
All right.
Let's go.
Okay.
Anything that's on a poll. No. Russo, we know it. You did it for like 5 years.
Oh,
Wait,
God.
didn't something happen? That it was like something on a pole match, and then the thing fell to the ring. Didn't that happen?
That wasn't TNA, but it was WCW though. It was the
Yeah.
WCW World Title was on a pole and it fell off. No joke.
Oh god.
Are we jumping to? I have another WCW pole match that Russo did. He did a Viagra on a pole match. That was a real thing.
Did they really do that?
Yep.
I think they did, yeah.
And it wasn't blue
serious?
pills; it was red pills. I don't know why.
Okay, that's what's weird.
This is weird. Why do I know that? Because I watch way too much wrestling. But TNA,
The bad.
there's a lot of
was
bad.
Hogan and Bischoff.
hiring
I
celebrities too.
Oh yeah, they had the Jersey Shore people.
That's
Not just the Jersey Shore. You remember Adam Pac-Man Jones?
Oh, that's right.
From the Tennessee Titans at the time?
Right after you got out from jail.
Yeah, he was suspended by the NFL, so he had ample time on his hands. What he did? Sign a contract with
the
TNA.
only time celebrities have worked out in wrestling were Mike Tyson,
Ronda
for
Rousey.
Ronda Rousey, because A, she can actually fight and she knows how to wrestle. Ronda Rousey's worked.
Bob
Mike Tyson.
Barker.
Paul, what?
Wow, we're going
Bob
old school.
Barker.
We are going.
Dude, that worked. When he was there, that worked. That was funny. Yeah. Why did you think about Barker?
Also in WCW, when they brought in Dennis Rodman and Karl Malone.
See, that worked. That made sense though.
The only
Because
reason
they were like the bad boys of basketball.
the only reason why is because there was an actual feud there in the NBA,
Yeah.
and B, because there were such wrestling fans that they actually learned to clothesline people, to body slam people in a ring, and they did it.
But they would really do that to fans during the basketball games.
They would body slam fans.
They would,
What?
In the basketball game, they body slam fans.
Maybe each other during the game.
No, not
but-
body slam. Like they would go. Who was it? Rodman. How many times did he get into fights with fans and other basketball players?
Oh, well, that
Not just fans, he fought
But
Charles Oakley all the time.
Yeah.
But he was such a
Not
fan of
everybody.
wrestling that he learned how to, clothesline, how to body slam, how to do an arm bar. He learned the basics because he loved it so much.
Every time he made a shot,
And
his
if-
celebration was body slamming a fan.
When he just body slammed the player with the basketball into the hoop.
If you look back on their match, was it DDP and Karl Malone versus Dennis Rodman and Hogan?
I don't like
You will
that.
actually see Rodman slam Malone and Malone slam Rodman. They actually learned some wrestling for that match because they're that much of a fan.
Yeah. Or when Arnold Schwarzenegger, that one was too.
Yeah,
Shaq also worked out for the WWE
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right.
with the whole double choke slam lock
With the big slow.
with the big slow. Yeah, exactly.
Or,
Oh, so wait, didn't Mayweather do one? as well
yes, I
with
was
Big
about to say
Show?
that when he punched Big Show and like broke his nose. And he was bleeding all over the place. You remember this?
That's right.
That was
Wow.
funny.
Look at the comparison. We have Mayweather and like Shaq and like Malone. TNA. We got Jersey Shore
Snooki.
and JWoww and
Snooki.
the
and-
situation.
Snooki versus
Pac-Man.
Floyd Mayweather.
Pac-Man Jones.
He's gonna make it rain, make it rain.
Oh God.
But like,
Oh,
I
no.
wasn't Mike. Yeah, Mike. You said it.
I think the best
Bischoff.
was Mike Tyson because it worked.
Sure,
Yeah.
but you're going with Bischoff though.
If there was one moment that kind of changed the Attitude Era was Mike Tyson versus Austin because that
Yeah.
turned the momentum back to WWF and to what we have now WWE.
Mm-hmm.
It was that single moment I think that changed it.
That was really good though.
But you were saying Bischoff.
Yeah, because
Bischoff
Mike
Hogan.
brought up Bischoff and Hulk Hogan, like bringing them in. That was a bad thing for TNA.
Yeah.
And I agree.
I think he was just really mishandled, and
Honestly, Hulk Hogan is not really that creative of a mind, so the decision to bring him in and have him influencing the company was just mind-boggling. It was a terrible decision on Dixie Carter's part, and it's going to end up costing them down the road because Hulk Hogan's influence is still there to this day, indirectly, even though he's promoting the WWE now.
sure you can feel the effects to this day with TNA if you watch it now. To people that actually do watch it, like it's taking a lot of hits, and like most people wouldn't know who they are.
But
Unfortunately.
getting back to the creative part, let's segue into how the TNA had a huge advantage. Where you have the Attitude Era just ending and the WWE segueing into more PG-friendly themes.
TNA was still the Attitude Era
Attitude
of today.
Exactly. They didn't want to take advantage of it because they should have taken what was wrong with WCW, WWF, and ECW, learned from those mistakes, and tried to become a juggernaut. They had it, but
I will
they
say
couldn't do it.
another thing they screwed up was when they switched to Monday nights to compete with WWE.
That was a horrible idea.
That was a big mistake because as a wrestling fan, yes, I liked TNA. I liked the wrestling at the time, but it was kind of hard to convince me to watch TNA for 3 hours as opposed to Monday Night Raw. I'm sorry.
Yep.
But when it was on Thursdays, oh yeah, I was watching it, no doubt about it,
Mm-hmm.
because there was no other wrestling at the time. TNA had that time slot down for me as a wrestling fan, and I was going to continue watching it. But once they switched to Monday nights and they changed their whole style, kind of threw me off there. Because I'm sorry, I watched Monday Night Raw WWE as opposed to TNA.
Mm-hmm.
And competing directly with companies that have a foothold in the sector is not good.
Foothold.
Because
That's a stranglehold.
That's a stranglehold.
well, I'm just trying to keep it to a minimum with. I don't want to overstate things, but
That was they were.
they don't. It was.
It's like David and
Seriously.
Well,
Yeah.
just trying to compete in general. Like the best way to I guess, shock the market from an economic standpoint is to differentiate yourself from the competition. So promoting yourself with what makes you unique, keep something going fresh.
And
but instead, they decided to make
aesthetically, for sure, was
scale.
aesthetically, like I said, which got me hooked to TNA, the six-sided ring. When they got rid of that, I mean, then it's just another wrestling promotion that's trying to compete with WWE. But that six-sided ring was like, it was unique. It was aesthetically, looking at it, that's different. I like that.
Sure.
You know, I don't think one thing that I think was bad about it is that I don't think Dixie Carter should have ever gotten in front of the camera.
She
Like I feel
she tried doing the Vince McMahon thing,
yeah,
except it didn't work out.
it didn't.
Dixieland.
I feel like I don't know. Like I just
The only reason Vince McMahon worked out was because of the Bret Hart screw job. And everyone, like, after that, they wanted to hate him, and Vince McMahon saw the hate, so he didn't try to be good. He's like, sorry, yeah, I'm the boss, you do what I say. And then, of course, timing with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
yeah.
Right.
You can't recreate that. That was just perfect timing.
What did TNA have? The AJ Styles Canadian screw job or whatever, or Georgia screw job? He's from Georgia. The Southern screw job.
But technically, you could recreate what they're doing because now instead of having the corporation, you have the authority in the WWE, and then you have Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose trying to stick it to them.
Sure.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
Well, obviously, it's hard to recreate the original magic that Stone Cold brought to the table.
The reason why I succeeded with Stone Cold and Vince is because it was a cultural shift at the time as well, where everyone was in a rebellion to what was normal.
Exactly.
And
it
now
worked,
it's
yeah,
just-
it worked because it was like when one person does it, it's like authority can take that person and remove them, right? But when it's when it's like half of the roster, an entire group of people supporting it, then it's like that's how you destroy the authority.
Also, Austin was pretty much what everyone had in their mind. Austin was that.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you hate somebody, but you're not gonna tell them. You don't want to hit them to their face because it could ruin whatever you're doing at the moment. Job, personal relationship, whatever it may be. Austin was that guy who was like, sorry, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I hate you, and I'm gonna show you I hate you. I'm gonna beat the crap out of you. That's why I went over.
That goes to show you how innovative Paul Heyman was, because if it wasn't for Heyman, we wouldn't have Stone Cold
This is true.
as what
He's
he.
still. I mean, Paul Heyman is still innovative.
That's another
He's
thing.
constantly.
That if there's one thing they
reinventing
should, if
himself.
there's one person they should have hired besides Bischoff and Hogan, should have been Heyman,
It
because
should
he
have.
knows how to sell stuff.
Yes.
And he has a business mind, except for finances. He has a business mind.
And everybody, not just that, everybody wants to see him.
If Paul Heyman came to TNA in 2010, TNA would have got some buzz and some noise.
Absolutely.
And if
Oh yeah.
TNA or if Heyman had creative with maybe Russo as a filter kind of thing,
Mhm.
I think together either would have been horrific or amazing, in my opinion.
Mhm.
I think it would have been I think if he was doing TNA Heyman, I think it would have been an offshoot of what NXT would have been now,
Mhm.
and that's just my opinion. That's all I got for TNA. Any last kind of thoughts going in? It's been about 40 minutes.
I would like them to actually recover from what they're going through right now, because we need a viable competitor for the WWE, so that way they're on their toes. Because ever since WCW exited the forefront and they were purchased by the WWF at the time, it's just been a one-horse show, and that one horse is not challenged enough, so it can slack off at times.
Yeah, that happens with anything. Competition pretty much makes creativity.
Mhm.
Everyone's there. Everyone in any market, in anything, is most creative when there's competition, because you want to put your best out there.
Exactly.
Here's one thing I propose. What happens if TNA continues to fall and Ring of Honor gets bigger? Can Ring of Honor get big enough to even be a threat to WWE? Because Ring of Honor's wrestling is really good.
It'll take at least a few years, because the Destination America spot is a nice springboard.
It's like half a million viewers or something like that he got additionally
Mhm.
from the Sinclair Broadcasting syndication deal they had before.
And if you look at it, many of the wrestlers that became main eventers in WWE started out in Ring of Honor.
And even some Even some people from TNA have left to Ring of Honor.
Sure.
Was it Magnus is one of them?
The Ring of Honor.
Ring of Honor?
Yeah, I believe he's there.
No, I just saw him last week. He's fighting the James
I'm trying to think
Storm
about
ripoff
somebody
of Bray
else.
Wyatt.
Thinking about somebody else. Sorry.
What it is the Revolution? It's a ripoff Bray Wyatt and the Rowan upside down Sheamus guy, whatever.
Upside down Sheamus.
Yeah, Eric Rowan is upside down Sheamus. That's what I call him. And Harper. That just ripped it
AKA
up.
the Wyatt family.
The Wyatt.
There you go.
They're like the Addams family.
Kind of.
They kind of are. The comparison.
Yeah.
If someone can Photoshop the Addams family with the Wyatt family, that would be fantastic.
Look, getting back to Destination America, it's not like a channel that's widely available for people. People have to pay extra on their packages, so you need a TV executive or a board to give someone a chance, because like it can be volatile. Like at worst you can lose money, but the risks are worth the rewards, because if you can take something that's on the up and up and develop it into a juggernaut that could be as close as to WCW was to WWF, and if it's managed properly, can destroy some of the market share that the WWE has right now, then you can have something to sustain itself over time, and it can grow over the time if the management's there. But the thing is that, do they have the management that will help them last 10, 15 years from now? That's the question.
It's the age-old question.
It'd
And
be cool if they can get a deal on Spike, like Ring of Honor.
Ring of Honor gonna do with Spike?
Yeah, I think that could boost them.
I don't think they want wrestling anymore, though.
They don't.
I
That's
don't
the
think
problem.
I think they want to make it like a hip hop, like R&B kind of style
I
channel.
want to make like a men's lifestyle channel, probably. Or something like that.
Yeah, it's Ass Men basically, or Axe Men. I said Ass Man. I wasn't trying to talk about Billy Gunn.
That is
I thought you were
botch.
making a
Botch
Sein-
count.
I thought you were making a
Botch count.
Seinfeld reference.
Oh, I actually kind of was. I didn't even think of that. Damn, I got a Seinfeld reference on the podcast. Sweet, that's awesome. I didn't need to. So, any last thoughts on TNA before we end off here? Because getting the time
It was good while it lasted.
again. We'll probably be back in 3 months saying, "Oh, TNA got canceled from like the Discovery Channel or something."
if they don't have any form of growth, and Ring of Honor grows a bit more, maybe they merge, or Ring of Honor buys out TNA. I don't know.
A merger, or Ring of Honor and TNA. Maybe they could do like a second invasion, because the first invasion with WWF, WCW, and ECW went so well.
ROH
Wink, wink.
and TNH, Total Nonstop Honor.
That sounds like a nerd from like high school would do that. Like it has like their honor code. We
I
have
don't think
total
a merger would work as well, because like
No offense, nerds.
I think if TNA continues their downward trend in Ring of Honor, because they just got a TV deal, which is great for Ring of Honor. If they keep going up and up, I think they acquire TNA, honestly.
But if they acquire, you have to also think about it this way. You're gonna have to create newer roles for people, or like you have to
Yeah.
expand the card for people, especially like WWE has the resources to have a huge roster where they can have like Sheamus show up as the fourth match of the night on Raw, but then they can have Bo Dallas as like a main eventer, like on some sort of closed road show that's not on TV.
And all you gotta do is believe.
Gotta believe. Oh, you know, it'd be great. Bo Dallas and Rockstar Spud as a tag team. Gotta believe in Spud.
A mess.
That'd be amazing.
I believe in Spud.
Believe in Spud. Okay, I think with that, I think we're gonna end off. It's been like
Remember,
50.
believe in yourself, and anything can happen in life.
Sure, whatever makes you sleep at night. I got nothing funny. I'm just like, all right, TNA. It's been a very serious conversation.
And believe
Yeah,
in
it got
itself
pretty.
enough.
When you talk about TNA,
It gets serious.
it gets serious.
But you know, at least we got 5 good things and some bad things. You know,
Yeah.
and
Just in case you were wondering.
Unlike Fox
positive
News,
things.
we're fair and balanced.
oh god, I'm not bringing Fox News into this. No.
If anyone was wondering if we could come up with positive things to say about TNA, we didn't. So
You didn't.
Yeah.
I tried.
challenge accepted, and yeah.
Yeah, bring your ideas. If you have 5 more legitimately good things that TNA has done, send it to us at the Wrestling is Wrestling
Number one,
Podcast.
it's getting canceled.
Oh. And with that, let's end off here. Wanted to say, if you wanted to send our suggestions or want to send any topics that you want us to talk about, or if you want to send us more reasons why TNA should be either canceled or will be canceled, or I don't even know what I'm talking about, or if TNA would anything would make TNA look good or anything that would make TNA better, send us to us through Wrestling is Wrestling Podcast. We are on YouTube, we are on Facebook, we are on Soundcloud, and we are a part of PiledriverWrestling.net and the OSW Review Podcast Network. You should check it out on the links down below. Also, if you want to be a sponsor of the show, if you want to do a 15 or 20 second video or advertisement, send it to us from Fiverr.com/Stephen Rafferty, and you'll be able to send us a video ad. Appreciate it. Really like it. I think you'll like it. And then I think other than that, any last thoughts, guys and gals?
Thank you for listening.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me as a guest on the show.
Oh yeah,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you for being.
Yeah, thanks, Nadeem.
Yeah.
He'll be on in future episodes as the months go by, and I hope you really like him. I think you will. He has some very good insight, as long as all of us.
He brought the professionalism to this podcast
He did, because
very professional.
we've been saying a lot of stupid things today. And when I mean by we, I mean me, because I've been botching this whole entire time.
True, I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
We did it.
Good job, guys.
Yeah.
Good job, team.
Exactly.
Alrighty, see you next time. Take it easy. Bye. Alrighty, let's see if I trip over the wires again.
But